Hey, what's up, everybody? Another great episode of Fourth Person Point of View, baby. And today's topic is, that's right, let's talk about the JFK files, baby. So, if you've been following the news, you are aware that on Tuesday, President Trump finally released the JFK files. Now, a lot of people are disappointed. And they are. That's why I'm laughing. So a lot of people are disappointed. A lot of people feel like they were waiting for something great. And they got right at 80,000 files and they still not happy. That's funny. So I think everybody was looking for some kind of conspiracy theory, Illuminati, CIA type shit. And it didn't happen. But Trump did give you the documents. Now let's look at this for a second here. Okay. So it says March 18th, 2025 release. The JFK Assassination Records 2025 documents release. In accordance with President Donald Trump's directive of March 17, 2025, all records previously withheld for classification that are part of the President John F. Kennedy Assassination Records collection are released. The National Archives has partnered with agencies across the federal government to comply with the President's directive in support of Executive Order 14176. As of March 18, 2025, the records are available to access either online at this page or in person via hard copy. Now, if you want to see these documents, you can go to archives.gov/research/JFK/release-2025. Now, I looked through it myself and I didn't see shit. I did. Now, it's damn near 80,000 documents. So I don't have the sophisticated computer technology, but I do have the common sense to hit a button and download the Excel file, which has all the titles. So I went through the titles myself and did like a little search of certain words, and nothing really stuck out. Now, on the flip side, I did read a few of the documents, which is why I said it wasn't too much in there. So, I went through a lot of them, and I noticed that Lee Harvey, if you search Lee Harvey, it's 8 cells found with his name in there. But something else I discovered, this is not the first time some of the files have been released. This is the 2025 release. Now, they were released in 2023, 2022, 2021, 2017 to 2018 release. So they've been releasing the documents. And you can click through a few of them like I did. And like I said, some of them, like right here, routing and record sheet, the attached article, which is nothing on there. And then on the flip side, Trump did not even redact some of the social security numbers. So like second page here, well, you can't really see that. That's kind of like all the documents are. Originator CIA title discussion between member senior division concerning Oswald stay in Helsinki, date June 1st, 1964. Things like that. You had a bunch of interviews that were in here. Yeah, at 9 o'clock this morning, I talked with Frank Freiber, recently returned to Helsinki Warren Commission inquiry concerning the timetable of Oswald's stay in Finland in October 1959. Things like that. We can go to another one. What is this here? Yep, same thing. So it's a bunch of the same information. They did a lot of interviews with people. Like this is a distribution list for the field. Now, Sir Charles C.F. Spry, Director General, Australian Security Intelligence Organization, thank you for your letter of October 15th recommending against the declassification of Warren Commission document CD-071. I might mention that our inquiry to you in August 1968 was in anticipation of further pressure for the release of Warren Commission papers, a pressure which has not materialized. According, there is not at the present time any intention to release CD-971. So it's a bunch of stuff like that in there. Like I said, you can go on there and look yourself. I mean, that's pretty much it there. You can go on there and check it out. Now, that's a lot. It's a lot of documents. And this is 2,343 entries that you can goddamn filter through. But like I say, I've filtered through quite a bit of them. And then I went online and looked at a lot of people online talking about it, which in a nutshell, they see the same thing I see, which is nothing. A lot of people were disappointed. I even heard one lady from Forbes say, how can like a bum who worked at a bookstore kill a president? I'm like, are you dumb? And I'm not surprised, because that's what everybody's looking for. Like everybody's looking for this big time conspiracy theories like from Hollywood or some shit. But let me tell you what I did. So I've been to the museum downtown Dallas where Lee Harvey Oswald worked. You can go up to the 6th floor. You can see where he shot from. And if you go down below, you can see the marker where John F. Kennedy's car was passing, where he got shot. So you can go down there anytime you want to. They're usually open. Tickets are not that expensive. But what I did do, I went and pulled the Warren Commission report, which is what some of the records were talking about that I just read. Now, it says the Warren Commission report was officially released June 27 of 2023. Then I went and looked at the Assassination Records Review Board report. That's what you should go look at. That's some interesting shit there. To me, it had more than this right here. And the third thing I suggest is go look at Lee Harvey Oswald's documentary. It's a PBS documentary, and it's like 2 hours. I think they have one for 3 hours. I've watched both of them. It's some cool shit. If you go watch this documentary, I think it takes away the Hollywood shit that we're looking for. Well, that y'all are looking for, because I'm not. It takes away all of the fairy tale nonsense. Now, this is what I want to say. When you go watch the documentary of Lee Harvey Oswald, you learn that Lee Harvey Oswald grew up in not a broken home, but his dad died when he was a kid. So his dad died, and his mom said he was a burden on her. So she ended up putting this boy in a orphanage for a little while. Then she went and got him out when he was a little bit older. And then they lived in New York for a little while. Then they moved down south. But he never had stability. And they said his mother was emotionally detached. So when he turned 17 years old, he joined the Marine Corps, trying to find a place in society. So he joined the Marine Corps. My mouth is dry. He joined the Marine Corps, and he got into an argument with one of his leaders. So basically, he got put out the Marine Corps. When this boy got put out the Marine Corps, he went to the Soviet Union and tried to be like an agent, like a spy or something. And what happened? They rejected him. They rejected this boy. Hold on here. Yes, he wanted to work with the KGB. So Lee Harvey Oswald got put out the United States Marine Corps. He wanted to go work with the Soviet Union. They rejected him, and basically they kind of analyzed him, because I guess this thing is I guess things like this are kind of common with different countries. So they said that he doesn't have anything that will benefit them. His job in the military was like some type of radar specialist, and he gave them the codes, and they said, well, that's kind of archaic information. We kind of already know that. Like, you're from America going to another country. When you're trying to sell information, like, you got to be able to sell some type of top-notch classified information. So basically what Lee Harvey Oswald had was bullshit to them. They didn't care about it. So they basically told him to take his ass on. And then he went to a hotel and tried to kill himself. He tried to commit suicide. They put him in the hospital. I think they were getting ready to send him to a psych ward. But there was one woman in the Soviet Union who said, hey, if he wants to stay here, let him stay. I mean, it's not every day that we get somebody that just want to come over here and work with us. So basically, they was like, okay, we don't have anything to lose. And they wanted to watch him. So they gave him his wish. He got to be part of the Soviet Union, but it wasn't what he really wanted. They were watching him the whole time, and they were actually all the people that he interacted with. The KGB would go interview them, and they would have certain people asking him certain questions, which that's when they really found out that Lee Harvey Oswald was not sent by the United States government. They basically said, okay, this fool voluntarily came over here to do whatever, but it was nothing. Then he went to the U.S. Embassy and took like a journal entry in there and told them, like, hey, I told the Soviet Union this about the United States. They sent it to the Pentagon and basically said, hey, this moron went over here and told them this, change all your codes, and they did. But he was not arrested. He wasn't. He finally met a woman in Russia who he fell in love with. They got married. They came back to the United States. Now, when they came back to the United States, Lee Harvey Oswald was never stable. Never. He never was stable. They had kids, and he had some type of fetish with how do I say this? The movement. Like he went and checked out books about people who tried to assassinate certain people. He cared about the Marxist theory, things like that. So he was always trying to get involved. Almost kind of like a Timothy McVeigh type person, which a lot of people in the military are kind of like political / revolutionary. It's just some people will go out on their own. And I think that's what this goddamn guy was doing here. You put him out the Marine Corps, and now he's trying to be a part of some type of big movement. And the movement, in his mind, he wants it to be something big, something TV-like. Because when they got back to the United States, when he left the Soviet Union with his new wife, he had a script prepared for television reporters. He thought there was going to be a bunch of reporters at the airport waiting on him when he got to Love Field in Dallas. He thought there was going to be a bunch of reporters storming him when they asked him about working with the Soviets, but it was not. And so he was disappointed. Fast forward, there was a guy named General Walker who was heavily involved in politics. Lee Harvey Oswald tried to assassinate him. He literally took his rifle and shot at the man's house. And you can go online and find this too. And if you watch the documentary, you can see this. So Lee Harvey Oswald failed at assassinating General Walker. Then, if you remember during like the Cuban Missile Crisis and the Bay of Pigs and all that stuff, where Cuba was in the media, there was a lot of problems between the United States and the Soviet Union, and Cuba was in the media a lot. So Lee Harvey Oswald tried to support the Cubans. They rejected him too. They did. He went down and he went to Miami and passed out a lot of flyers that he made himself, and he got into some kind of like altercation down there. Some guy knocked him out of his hand. They were taken to jail, and the cops said that Lee Harvey Oswald could have paid like $25 and got away, but he didn't want to go. He wanted to go to jail. He wanted to be part of like some type of movement. And the cops said he knew then like something was wrong with the guy. Like, why would you want to go to jail when you can pay $25 for a misdemeanor and go home? So Lee Harvey Oswald is trying to, he had a mental problem. Like, he's trying to be a part of a movement, but he can't. Then fast forward, he's released. Then he comes back to Dallas. Then he ends up going to New Orleans, trying to find his way. He goes to Mexico from there, I think. And I think he had like a 4-day pass in Mexico. And from Mexico, he interacted with a few people trying to get to Cuba, but they kind of rejected him too. And the reason I know this is because the FBI and everybody went and during their investigation, they went and talked to a lot of the people that Lee Harvey Oswald interacted with, and this is the information that they told them. Now, his wife told some people that he had a mental problem because he told his wife they should hijack a plane and she should make an announcement, which she played it off and said, well, I can't speak English that well. Then Lee Harvey Oswald bought a camera and a gun, and he had his wife to take a picture of him with the gun. So if you think about that part right there, in this guy's mind, he was the character he was. I mean, he was a damn assassin in his own mind. I told you. He just tried to kill General Walker not too long ago. It was a failed assassination attempt. So fast forward, when he got back from Mexico, because he couldn't get to Cuba, right? So he came back, and now his wife is she's not happy because she felt like he didn't love her and he's never got stability. So someone in their family said, hey, I can get you a job at the Dallas bookstore, which it only paid like $1 and some change, but he's poor, so he took the job. Now, this is a person in their circle. This is not like somebody part of the mob or the Cubans or the Soviets or nothing. This is somebody in his family, which I feel like if it's somebody in his family, in his family circle, and him getting that job at the damn Dallas bookstore, I believe it's just coincidence. Because if you go back and look at it, him working at that bookstore, trying to make a living for his wife and family, he didn't have many options. Let's see over there. He did not have too many options. And they said that everybody knew that President Kennedy was coming to Dallas. They broadcasted this on the news and everybody knew it. So I believe that Lee Harvey Oswald, in this sick fetish that he had, wanting to be famous, wanting to be a part of history, trying to follow in these footsteps of all these other people, I think he just took advantage of the situation. And I think this 2025 release that we see, that President Trump released, I think it's just part of the process. I think everything we could get from this information here is long gone. I think everything is there because I feel like this is nothing but a bunch of files that show you that we interviewed this person on this day and this person on this day saying he went here and there. That's all I see. And we do know that he acted alone. That's the whole part of this whole investigation. We wanted to know as Americans, did the CIA or anybody else have a part in this? Which I think we have our answer. And I think that's why so many people are disappointed with this 2025 release. Like I said, I had no idea that all these other years of declassified information existed either. But I'm gonna read you this right here, and this is from the this is chapter 1 from the Assassination Records Review Board report here. It says, now you can go online and find this too. Just type in the Assassination Records Review Board report. I'm going to read you the 5th paragraph. I'm going to start at the 5th paragraph here. Well, let me read you the first one just for your own understanding. It says, the problem with secrecy. Uncage the document, let them see light. The President John F. Kennedy Assassination Records Collection Act of 1992 was a unique solution to the problem of secrecy. The problem was that 30 years of government secrecy relating to the assassination of President Kennedy led the American public to believe that the government had something to hide. The solution was legislation that required the government to disclose whatever information it had concerning the assassination. Now we're going to skip over here to the 5th paragraph. It says, aside from the assassination investigations that the Dallas police, the FBI, the Secret Service conducted, President Johnson immediately established the President's Commission to investigate the assassination of President Kennedy. Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court Earl Warren headed the efforts of the Warren Commission. 10 months later, the Warren Commission report concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone and shot the president from a sniper's nest on the 6th floor of his workplace, the Texas School Book Depository, for a variety of reasons, not the least of which was that the Warren Commission conducted some of its investigations in secret and sealed many of its records. The American public never trusted the commission's conclusion. Subsequently, other federal entities conducted partial or complete reinvestigations of the assassination. The most significant of these reinvestigations was the House Select Committee on Assassinations, the HSCA, which concluded in 1979 that Kennedy's death was the result of a probable conspiracy. In 1991, Oliver Stone's JFK popularized a version of President Kennedy's assassination that featured U.S. government agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the CIA, and the military as conspirators. While the movie was largely fictional, the information that Stone conveyed in the movie's closing trailer was true. The HSCA had reinvestigated the murder and issued a provocative report, but their records were sealed until the year 2029. Stone suggested at the end of the movie JFK that Americans could not trust official public conclusions when those conclusions had been made in secret. Congress passed legislation, the JFK Act, that released the secret records that prior investigations gathered and created. Numerous records of previous investigative bodies such as the Warren Commission, the Church Committee, and the HSCA were secret. Yet members of these commissions reached conclusions based on the investigative records. The American public lost faith when it could not see the very documents whose contents led to these conclusions. The American public has expressed its dissatisfaction with both the work and the conclusions of the official investigations of the assassination, and it was this dissatisfaction that was primarily responsible for Congress's initiative to establish the Assassinations Records Review Board. Section 3.2 of the JFK Act defines the records of each of these official investigative entities as assassination records. So, there you go. I think that's where the conspiracy is coming in. I do. I think the American people felt like with that damn movie and what the movie was portraying, which was probably for marketing purposes, I feel like the American people felt like they were missing more, like it said here. they wanted to see the documents for themselves. And those are the documents. Now, I was told, well, I was doing some research online, and they said that some Navy officer who was part of the investigation kind of like burnt some documents. I don't know how true that is. I don't even know if that's legal. I don't know why he would burn documents if he's in the Navy, because, I mean, it's not like he has a dog in the fight. That's where all your conspiracies come from. But they said that the autopsy showed that nobody shot President Kennedy from the front. It was all from the back of the head. Now, keep in mind, Lee Harvey Oswald was a soldier. He was a veteran. Veterans shoot guns more than the average civilian. The only civilian that shoots a gun more than a veteran, is somebody into the sports of it, like competition shooters. Those are the only people who shoot guns more than veterans. So when they say he couldn't pull it off, like hell, he's a veteran. He shot guns all the time. He went to the range on his own. And then some lady on Forbes said, how can a bomb like that kill a president? See, more of this conspiracy shit. You looking for some type of tall man wearing a black suit with dark sunglasses? No, that's not how that works. But, so we do know he's responsible, but I think what everybody wanted to know, did he act alone, or was somebody else involved? Which I think that's our answer, which I think that's why people are disappointed in this 2025 release. Now, if you go back and watch that documentary, like I told you to, I think the opportunity presented itself, and he just capitalized on it, because this is some shit he wanted to do. He got rejected by the Soviet Union. He got rejected by the, my mouth is very dry, forgive me. He got rejected by the Cubans. So it's like he was trying his best to be part of some movement, and he just kept failing. When he couldn't find a stable job, somebody in their circle, their family and friends, said, I can get you this job at this bookstore. It pays like $1 and some change, and he took it. Like I said, they said the Secret Service was flying around Dallas doing like a recon, trying to, check out the route and everything. And I think he knew it. One of the guys, if you watch the documentary on him, one guy said that he remember Oswald walking up to him saying, who's coming? And he said, the president, man. And he's like, ha, 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 ha. He laughed. He knew the damn president was coming. And then that morning on his way to work, he left his, that morning before he went to work, he left his money at home with his wedding ring. And his wife said that probably was all the money he had. They were poor. And the guy who dropped him off said he had a long package, and he asked him, what was it? And he said it was curtain rods. So this is something he had planned to do. I don't think nobody told this crazy motherfucker to do that. I think he acted alone. You can't let all these conspiracies, you can't let these conspiracies have you thinking left field, right field, and goddamn behind the dugout. I was not aware, even though I've watched that movie before, but I do believe this Oliver Stone's JFK is what threw some of those conspiracies out there. And I do feel like when the Kennedy family said, how could they? You got to keep in mind, there was a lot of people that wanted to kill President Kennedy. You had the mafia, you had the Cubans, some of the Cubans wanted him dead. And then not to mention all other Americans who are not happy with him and that just didn't like him. Kind of like President Trump. He's had 2 assassination attempts already. I actually think it was 3. I think one of them got stopped and it just didn't make the news. So people want to kill presidents anyway, for whatever reason. So I think that right there is something else we have to factor in. I mean, people just not happy with what's going on. And so people just want to kill presidents. But the question, back to the subject of this episode here, the JFK files. I went through a lot of them. I didn't find nothing but just normal pieces of an investigation with interviews and stuff. And like I said, I think people are disappointed because they was looking for some type of Hollywood shit and it didn't exist. That's all. And the only reason I wanted to do this podcast on it because me too, I went and looked at them just to see what we was gonna find. And then I think he's getting ready to release Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s files too. So that should be interesting too. Maybe you can filter through those, but I think everything that we know for the most part, it's it. I don't think there's nothing else. I don't see how from 1963 to 2025 there would be important details that somebody have not leaked or told somebody something. But I don't know. I'm not going to wrap my brain around it too much, man. But like I said, go online and check them out yourself. But what I suggest, if you really want to get a better understanding of it, go read the Warren Report, which I did. Go read the Assassination Records Review Board report, and go watch the Lee Harvey Oswald documentary on YouTube. And it makes it all make more sense to me. That right there gave me way more than these 2025 files, because this 2025 file, to me, it's just part of the investigation, and you had to buy time because you can't just declassify shit overnight. And I think that's part of the reason it probably was not declassified. And you remember I read something that said, the HSCA had reinvestigated the murder and issued a provocative report, but their records were sealed until the year 2029. Now, 2029, that's 4 years away. But I think all of this right here is part of what we just got in this 2025 release. I think President Trump told them to release everything. But like I said, go read the Assassination Records Review Board report, and you can get this right here. And it makes a lot of sense. But I'm going to hop off here. This has been Fourth Person Point of View, baby. I'm out.